People, deluded, I'm back again. Now, I know I've taken a break or so. Don't believe I brought out any videos yesterday. So that is considered a break for deluded. But back again. Hope you're all doing well this Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon or evening, wherever you are. Now, Arsenal have been linked with Maxi Gomez. Now, if you lot know who he is, young striker, forgive me if I'm wrong, 22 or in his early 20s, playing for Celta Vigo. Now, along with you're looking at Jovic, is it Jovic? I can never pronounce it. He's just gone to Madrid. There's a couple young strikers going. Werner's been linked with moves. Arpa's allegedly going to United, Munich. So the youngish sort of striker range from 17 to early 20s, that sort of striker to break into the next level that isn't quite there, is on the market. It's going to be a crazy, before I get into obviously the Arsenal links, I think it's going to be a crazy summer, people, because again, the moves rarely happen, but you look at Lyon, you could see Memphis Depay and then Ndombele and maybe Aouar or Fekir leaving. Fekir hasn't had as much interest as last year, at least based on what I see in reports. But you've got him, you've got Atletico Madrid allegedly. If Griezmann leaves, Cavani said he wants to stay at PSG, but he could be moved on. There's several, like, we could be here all day, man. Sane's situation at City, Gab Jesus' situation at Manchester City, Pogba, Hazard. I think it's going to be an interesting summer, whether it's in England or elsewhere. There's going to be a lot of moves. Gomez, I do think, is someone that's going to probably move on. Now, Celta Vigo have just about scathed off relegation. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but I think they've got some decent players. They've got Fran Bertrand, I can never pronounce names, the young centre mid. They've got Lobotka, I can never say his name, but you lot know what I'm talking about, that midfielder. They've got that young Turkish lad I did a video on as well. They've got a couple decent ballers at that club, Celta Vigo, and none more so than him. Now, typically is the case, these young lads, they come in from South America, they join a team where they're allowed to hone their skills and then they move on. He's been linked with West Ham. Allegedly, West Ham wanted him. Apparently, Arsenal want him. In fact, it's West Ham in the nose actually filtering in the information that we want him. He was linked with Barcelona as well. He is a good striker. He scores different sorts of goals. I still think he needs to go up several levels, but he's a decent forward. In regards to the Arsenal links, personally, I don't see it happening, people, because 45 million, that's our budget allegedly. Let's just say it's anything from 40 to 70. Now, I agree we might need a striker in a year or so or whenever, because Aubameyang's getting on a bit, and to be fair, he might even move on because he's contracted until 2021, so something needs to be done in that department. Lacazette, I love Lacazette. You lot know he's my favourite player within this side, but and he's got a lot of qualities, and he's scored some goals. But is he quite the striker that can get 20 league goals? On paper, he's not. So it could be a thing where Aubameyang might be moved on, or Aubameyang, because of age and stuff, he becomes sort of a secondary option in the side, whether that's a option off the bench or a super sub, because it's an interesting debate. People think, and I think to a degree, he might struggle when he loses his pace in terms of adapting. But then again, he's a very good poacher, and to be fair, you look at some of the finishes, yes, pace is a big factor of his, but getting into them positions and anticipation, you don't lose them things. So he might not necessarily struggle when he loses pace, but we could find ourselves in a position where, due to Aubameyang's age, he's not quite cutting the mustard. He can be used off the bench and them things there, but he's not quite cutting the mustard. Lacazette probably be dropped into a support striker role. Like I said, Lacazette scores in big games and he does score goals and gets assists. He got 10 in the league. But is he quite the 20 league goals a season striker? No, he'll pop up with moments. Valencia, Atletico, almost any top six side he's faced, he's scored against or played well against. So we know Lacazette standing up to be counted all the time. But like I said, Aubameyang, he could get on a bit and be an option off the bench and stuff. Lacazette's an option within the team and could be utilised in different ways as well as a striker, and he isn't quite that. I don't think Gomez is quite the 20 league goal striker yet. Forgive me if I'm wrong. I think he has hit close to that. I'm not sure about this season, but I still think he's got development. So if he can come into that role, then why not? If you remember, he's still at the club in 3-4 years or however long, then you can probably guarantee we sign a striker, because we're watching Dembele of Lyon quite a lot. We're linked with quite a lot of strikers. If you read between the lines away from the players, clearly the club is looking for another striker. Maybe that's to replace Welbs. Maybe that was always on the agenda. And it'll be interesting as well to see what happens, because there's a lot of strikers on the book on our books from young and old. I don't think it's a thing, because by all means, any player is replaceable, and as much as I love all the players in this side, there's not one world class player in this side. So everybody has a price, and everybody can be moved on. But for me, I know Lacazette and Aubameyang. For me, they get a lot of stick. I just kind of gave Lacazette some stick. He doesn't get 20 league goals, and Aubameyang has his own critics. But for me, they're doing their job, people. If you look at everybody within the side or just competency, strikers are meant to deliver in terms of goals. You remove their goals and assists collectively, and where would we be? They've done their job. So for me, I want to see us possibly sign a left-sided fullback, pattern up in centre half with one or two defenders, get a midfielder in. Obviously, we know we need a winger, and I'm sure there's other options you would consider before we even talk about strikers. If the spine is improved and fixed up, and we identify the areas that you and I all know that we need to improve in, and the team's looking all certain, then by all means we can fine tune. Okay, Lacazette doesn't get 20 league goals. Let's find someone who can. Okay, Aubameyang gets 20 league goals, but his general play isn't quite there. Let's find people who can, or let's do something about it. I believe you only play around with them sort of positions and stuff when the spine's there. And as much as I love my club, the spine isn't there. Car obviously Leno's second half of the season done his thing. Centre half, you know we're crying for a centre half to give us promise. Because beyond Mavropanos, who is untested, Holding and Socrates, for me, Koscielny's doing his thing, but he ain't really going to be long term. You're kind of pushed for options at centre half, so we need that midfield. There's two sorts of midfielders, whether it's a tigerish sort of midfielder like Torreira, or someone whose strengths are better than Xhaka's, in terms of Xhaka tries to receive the ball off the centre halves and play it forward. If we can find a hybrid that marries the aspects of both and kind of got a bit of both, then that's great. But I believe we need two. Realistically, we're only going to get one. So again, I don't feel we're going to get this Gomez. I like him a lot. You lot know I've made videos about Celta Vigo and them things, their players and that. So we'll see what happens, man. But I think it's nonsense, to be fair with you. On that note, I'm going to get out of here. People, it's been a pleasure. Deluded. Enjoy the rest of your day or evening or night, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. I'm out. Oh, I'm not out.